This is Quantum Flow Radio, organizing thought particles into a flow of collective consciousness.
Hello, love.
Hello. It's funny you bring that up.
Oh, is it then?
Because love is in the air today.
And tonight.
And tonight.
And always.
And hopefully. And always, right. Love makes the world go round.
And it's funny you should say love is in the air. Man, I'm jumping right in. Because
Jump.
where else would it be but in the air?
Have you heard the word is love?
I guess you can pretty much quantify what our topic is today, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at
It's
love,
love.
maybe. Yeah.
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 We're going to only talk about love today. Love. Love, love, love.
Love, a loving topic.
Yes. So much to it, and yet so kind of elusive. It's hard to package love. You know,
It is.
How do you define it? You know, how do you? Because it's so much more than just words.
Yeah, and every great mystic or avatar or prophet has always
Even
agreed.
philosophers
have
yeah.
all agreed that all there is love. It is the default foundational energy of the universe.
I so subscribe to that. My gosh, yes. If you've lived any amount of years on this earth, you'll find that going to love and love will solve every problem. It just takes care of everything.
Yep.
Every conflict, every war, just everything that's going on. If people would just do it with more love and caring, imagine where we would be.
And
Yeah.
believe in it.
Yeah.
In the power that it is.
And by believing in it, you'll know it and you'll experience it. And there is nothing better or that you can experience here on earth except that feeling, that vibration of love, the love vibration.
And it's so
Beautiful.
important, even when you take your first breath, as an infant.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember that, but
I don't either. But all through childhood, we all want to be loved,
sure.
and in return for that, we love back.
It's the cornerstone. And you bring up probably the best point is how do we get loved?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not just sitting around and expecting it. Sometimes you have to give to get. And we're gonna get into that about how the vibrational energy of love. How does one become loved?
Right, and aside from the vibrational energy of what is love, okay, from a biochemical viewpoint.
Yeah,
there
because it
are
is
also-
chemical and it's biology and it's everything, man. It's
Right. It's philosophical. it's spiritual.
It's in half the songs. It's in every
metaphysical.
movie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
God. If you took love out of everything, well,
the world would stop, as they say, because
Yeah.
love makes it the world go round. If it is
Exactly.
spinning, yeah.
exactly. So definitions of love.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I-
you are, man. You're right on top of it. I was
Yeah,
going
I
to say, hey,
figured-
let's talk about a little bit about the word love. And by the way, before you get into it, I'm going
Yeah.
to tell you something.
Sure.
The word love. Just listen to that.
Yep.
Love.
Yep.
Love. Just the word itself.
Yeah.
It has vibration to it.
Yes.
It's a unique word.
It does, and
Yeah.
I hearken back to the times of Love Boat. I mean, there's love connected to everything.
That's right.
Even boats.
Even boats, yeah.
Yeah. So definition of love, and there are many. Particularly, we're looking at English right now. Okay.
Okay.
Intense feeling of deep affection, as in babies fill parents with feelings of love.
Right.
That type of feeling. A strong feeling of affection and sexual attraction for someone. They were both in love with her. We were slowly falling in love. There is affectionate greetings conveyed to someone on one's behalf. Give her my love. Give him my love. It is a formula for ending an affectionate letter. Take care. Lots of love.
Beautiful. I feel like I'm in a Shakespeare play or something. Especially with the hand movement.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
you can't see
No,
the
no,
hand
no.
movement on you. Yeah,
No,
but it just you have to. A personified figure of love, often represented as Cupid. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
great interest and pleasure in something. For example, a love of philosophy, which is essentially including a word of love. Okay,
Okay.
philo from the Greek, phileo. Sophia means wisdom, so philosophy is a love of wisdom.
Right.
Okay. We also have a person or thing that one loves. She was the love of his life. That type of example. A British informal and friendly form of address or of address.
Like what you just did.
Like I
Hello,
did.
love.
Yeah, well, it's all right, love. No worries, love. So then we have formal used as request. Don't fret. There's a love. In tennis, even a score of 0, nil, is love.
I always wondered why that is, and I think the elites did it to confuse, because the elites would want to play. In all honesty, they would play with their servants tennis.
Yes.
And the servants were getting so good, they
Yeah.
were beating the elite.
Yeah.
So they had a score system that was complicated.
Yeah.
You know, because you go love and then 15.
Yeah, and it's
30,
very
40.
complicated.
It is very
You still
complicated.
have
Well,
to
when you
figure
know
that
it, you know it. But
Yeah,
you know.
thank God for those automatic bowling things.
But it's
too.
weird that they interject love into tennis.
Yeah.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Etymology of the word,
Mm.
going back to Old English, lufu, meaning a feeling of romantic attraction or affection. Friendliness, the love of God, love as an abstraction or a personification. From the Proto-Germanic lubo, okay, which I really find interesting when you go looking at so much of the etymology of words. I looked up, love. I looked up forgive. I looked up, forget. I looked up all these
Well-
other things just because I wanted to see how well they were connected with each
but
other.
in the
And they are.
in the English language, there is only the word love. I know in other languages there's more descriptive words that are close to love, but there's not anything close to love in the English language. I mean, you have like,
Right.
or I really, 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 really like that.
Yeah.
That's still not love.
No, it isn't. And we've touched on this before.
Right.
With particularly in Greek people will say, well, there are many words for love in Greek because there are many
Right.
types of love in the Greek language. For example, eros or eros. That's like the word erotica or erotic. It's that type of love.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have storgi, okay, which is a love of affection. It's a kind of love that sort of bonds parents and children together. Then philia, which is a higher kind of love, like the love of a man who now chooses freely what to love. Or, for example, in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love,
Right.
because of philia, and also
wow.
Adelphia is brother.
Brother.
Brothers. Okay, so it's the city of brotherly love. And then there's finally agape love, which is true, unconditional love.
Right.
Okay?
Agape. And
right.
that's mentioned in the Bible.
Exactly. And
Right.
but these are words for love and descriptions of
Right.
love, but not the mechanics of love.
No, and that's that's a great tip-off point, because you could sit there and describe with all those words and the meanings and roots and everything else, but it falls short really of truly what love really is.
Yeah.
I mean, we could sit here and try to describe it, but to experience it, that's why we're here. That's part of our journey.
Yeah, it reminds me of Dr. Hannibal when he says to Clarice.
You have to do it in his voice.
Yeah,
No.
yeah,
Clarice.
right. Clarice. What does he do, this man you seek?
Oh gosh, I'm scared. You
see,
did that so well.
So it's like, we can talk about love, but what
Right.
do we do when we love?
Well, you know what? I was thinking about this, and there's just so many jump-off points, but I'm just going to ask this question, and we always like to ask questions because this invites you to think about, as we discuss, what your opinion is. But have you ever loved? And when I mean that, I mean really loved. There's all kinds of love, but you could extend this to nature,
Yeah.
love of nature. Some people love
Horses, cats, dogs,
well, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
cars.
Well, yeah, I was going to get to animals, obviously, dogs and cars. Love of food,
Yeah.
love of arts,
Yep.
and then, of course, love of money
Yeah.
and love of materialism.
Yeah.
And love of materialistic items. Now,
Sure.
yeah, sure, you may love your car, and some people love their car more than they love their significant other.
Yep.
But that's,
Making it an insignificant other.
But at the core, I think we'll concentrate on the vibration of love, kind of like how do we get love? And I think it all starts with this: do everything with love.
Yeah.
And when I mean everything, it's amazing when you consciously think, but if you're even preparing a dinner,
Yeah.
and you want to make the food taste good, But say you just whip it together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It doesn't taste as good. There's something missing.
Yeah.
It's that missing ingredient.
Yeah.
That that it's almost as if you're making it if you put the time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And you put yourself into it. Somehow that's expressed in its tasteability. And that sounds crazy, but if you do anything, cooking, dancing, music, anything you create, if you do it with the love vibration, believe me, it's gonna have a better and more profound effect on other people because this is what you're putting out, right?
Sure. It's also the same. Well, it's the same with just about anything that we do. And then there's the factor, the extra factor. For example, if you are trying to lift a certain amount of weight, let's say, okay,
right,
and you go to your maximum capacity, you say, "Oh, well, I just can't do anymore," and then somebody stands next to you and starts cheering you on. And starts just, come on, man, you can do it. Let's go. Ah, and you got Sam Kinison in the background going, ow, right? So, you automatically lift more.
Yeah.
You see? And then if you were, for example, put under some light level of hypnotic state, perhaps in the theta stage, your part of your mind that says you can't do it is asleep. And then you go to do it, and all of a sudden you lift even more weight.
Right.
And it could be as much as 30% from what I've studied. So that love that you put into the dinner, okay, it could be 30% tastier.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How to quantify it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And people acknowledge this because when you go to fast food,
I was just making fast food burger. Oh my God.
I was like, you go to the drive-in and they plop that in the bag and they say, "Here, have a nice night," and you're biting into this burger as you're sitting in your car and you go, "This is the most tasteless thing." It's like, who made this?
Yeah.
And believe me, that person, hey, it's a job.
Yep.
They had to get 10 burgers, assembled in a minute.
Yeah.
So very little love, but this just shows you that conscious attention to things affects everything.
It does, and you can see it even in that burger. If you were to go to a restaurant, I mean, I love burgers.
Right.
Okay? So I go to a restaurant. Burger
Well, we're
comes
American.
out.
That's
right.
yeah.
Right. So I go to a restaurant. Burger comes out, and if it's geometrically sound,
I know what you mean.
okay, you have the burger, right? You have the bottom bun, and then you have the patty,
right?
And then you have the cheese, and then you have the top bun. If it's geometrically sound, that burger was assembled with love.
Right.
Somebody cared.
Yeah, somebody took the extra attention.
But if the burger's hanging a little bit off the bun and the cheese is not perfectly centered on the patty, there not much love went into that.
Or they put onions on it, that's just
yeah. When I said no onions,
no onions, but they put onions on it. Yeah.
But so you can see the love in many situations too, not just feel it.
Right.
But we have all of these senses, and you can literally even smell the love, and you can
feel, taste, sense, hear. It all emanates.
Yeah, exactly. And there's you can walk into a room and
feel the love. So I finished your thought.
Yeah, no, and feel the love, or feel the density
fear.
of darkness and fear.
Yeah,
exactly. I've done that in
feel the heat
in buildings. Yeah, or in towns, or in certain areas where certain events have happened. It just it lingers there. The energy stays there.
Yeah.
So the more love energy that we push out into the outward world, the more it will manifest and the more it will grow. And the more it will push back the darkness. It's called a flashlight. It's not a flash dark. You can't shine darkness, but you can shine the light.
Right.
And what it does really is it's not, some people will say, well, light eradicates darkness. No, it just kind of pushes it out of the way.
Well, it illuminates it, and it brings awareness and things that you don't see in the dark. The light sheds light on it, and therefore you're more in the know.
Right, which brings me back to love, because love will do that.
And when you shed light in a dark room, what are you creating there? You're creating what's really there. You're creating truth.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
You're exposing it.
You're exposing it, but you're seeing what's really there. And with truth always aligns with love.
Yes.
You can't, it's hard to be genuine and love and lie about it.
Right.
It just doesn't, those two feelings don't sync up within our inner core somehow.
No, they don't.
And again, the heart knows and the mind lies. So
Yeah.
there you go. So if
Exactly.
you really want to know how you feel about something, you have to stop your thought at where your heart is, before your mind gets a hold of that thought and confuses it.
Yep.
Because once your mind gets a hold of something, it's looking at it a different way. It's almost maybe it could be a self-defense thing or something else. But when you really love, you put yourself out there.
Yep.
You could care less what happens to you.
Right.
You see.
Right. And that's
True
why
love.
True love is symbolized with a heart. So we're in that heart chakra. We're in that range where the default.
Are you reading
is
my
love.
thoughts?
No,
Because
I'm
my
not.
next thought was the heart is the universal symbol of love.
Yeah. See, there you are. Yeah.
So
So you got the hearts, we got the burgers, boy, everything.
Yeah.
We're in sync here.
No. And again, to get back to it, we may only have a few true loves in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And this is getting back to, sure, we could all love all this other stuff, but when we're talking about this connection, the love connection.
Yeah.
Speaking of back in 2 and 2, what was that guy's name? Whatever. That's besides.
Yeah.
Okay. But in our lifetime, we're lucky to maybe even just have one, and that's really all you need. Because if you can find somebody, and we're not going to use those cliched terms like soulmate or you're my star seed or anything like that. Hey, man, it's love, and you just happen to get along with that person, and because of that bond, that bind that you have with them is so strong
Yep.
that you're going to be a lot more tolerant of these people.
Sure.
Because initially, when you love somebody, you may be attracted to them for various reasons. It may be initially maybe a superficial, kind of like how they look or how they wear their hair,
Yeah.
or just something about them, the
Right.
clothes they're wearing, or something, or how they talk even.
Right.
But once you get to know them, and that all kind of supersedes to the side, it's really them, their inner core. That's what you think about them now.
Yeah,
and that is the true love connection if you can get to that point.
And I forgot who said it, but it is better to have loved and lost than to not have loved at all. And I believe that to be
True.
completely true.
Right.
And when we love something,
And love means never having to say you're
I'm
sorry.
sorry. Yeah, exactly.
Love story. Great movie.
Oh,
Check it out.
God, 72 was it? I
Yeah.
think?
Ryan O'Neal.
Ryan O'Neal.
This is a second Ryan. Yeah, Ali McGraw.
Ali McGraw. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. They're blowing the
Oh,
cobwebs
it was just
off now.
what a great movie.
Yeah.
I like when he's driving his sports car in the snow.
Yeah. There you go.
Hey.
Another great movie, Somewhere in Time, with
Right.
Christopher Reeve.
Oh, yeah. We bring up all these examples of movies and songs and everything else because, again, we can only try to quantify it as best we can. We're just telling you, we're talking about love, and sometimes people can even show you, but it'll never quite lead you there all the
Right.
way.
Right.
It's all you. It's
Exactly.
how much you want to put yourself out there and how much you desire to be loved.
Yep. And you ever notice that you mentioned the symbolically being the heart? Ever noticed, like for example, when you're watching a love story in movies like that, we say it pulls at your heartstrings. So that emotional connection that we have to things like that in love is definitely heart-centered.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas if we're watching some, adventure thing, some movie about whooping butt somewhere, it's all happening in our head.
Sure. But the best movies are ones that pull on your heartstrings, that get inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
They know where to go. They actually have a roadmap.
Yeah, yeah.
And the best movies are, even if it's an action adventure,
Yeah.
there's a side story, a love story. Of course, it's going to be really corny and maybe stupid and cliched again.
Yep.
But at least
But it
maybe
has
they
to be
tried.
there.
But it has to be there because you have to balance it out, because that's one of our foremost important emotions, because the love vibration is the highest frequency we hit.
Yep.
Period. If you look at frequency of emotion, at the bottom, fear, hate, which is
Yep.
love's opposite,
Yep. Anger.
anger. Yeah. And then you have everything in between, and at the top is love, and really at the top is what I would call unconditional love.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that.
Yep.
But too many people through time have confused love and lust. So this is an area where you just know when you're in love with another person.
Yeah.
It's like that moment Sometimes it might be high school or college. Usually we're young,
Yeah.
maybe, but most people, before their age of
Yeah,
30.
from puppy love on up.
Well, sure, puppy's love is wonderful, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about like this is where wow, you're riding a wave. You're giddy. You're laughing. You're just floating on a different level.
Yep.
And it elevates you above everything else, and nothing else matters because when you find that. And just recently, I saw this young couple. They came together, and when I saw them, they just looked at each other, and I just knew. I said, "That's love."
Yeah.
And guess what? They just got married.
Yeah.
So it's just sometimes you wear it on your sleeve.
Yeah. And it also when you're in love with someone, it's interesting because you have a tendency to look beyond perhaps some weaknesses or some flaws or whatever it might be.
Well, of course, yeah.
And
Yeah.
much in the same way that love has the power to push aside or push away darkness or negative emotions, it's in the same way that you look at someone that you're in love with, you don't see the other stuff that you don't like.
No, and as you, if you've been with somebody for a long time, you don't have to be married.
Yep.
I mean, if you have a partner and you've been with this person for a long time, you're aging. You may not look as hot or sexy as you
Right.
did maybe when you were younger or whatever
Sure.
it is. But we tend to look past that. Like you said, the love really emanates from inside.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if the person can just walk in the room, and although you physically see them,
Yeah.
you sense that they're there, and all of a sudden you just melts your heart.
Yeah.
That's that person's for you. And there's nothing better than when the love for this person is equally back at you, brother.
Yep. Yep.
Where that person feels the same about you.
Sure.
That's special.
Yeah, and it goes beyond, God, I love the way she looks, or God, I love the way she smells,
Yeah.
or I love whatever.
That helps.
Yeah, it helps.
That helps
Sure.
a lot.
Yep. That's how it all begins. But
Right.
going beyond that,
But there's that element still stays because even 10, 15 years from now, you have memories of all that.
sure you do.
Yeah,
It
that's
never
all-
goes away. It's
No,
always there.
it's all
Yeah.
encoded into you.
But
And-
what happens on a deeper level, on a spiritual level, or on an electrical level,
Yeah.
a chemical level,
Sure.
is where the magic is.
It's like perfume in a bottle.
Right. Because what happens is you go beyond the surface. You go, into the metaphysics of it all, and you go beyond the looks and the voice and the smell and the way she wears her hair, or, So it goes beyond that to what is within instead of without.
Sure.
So many times I've seen through the years people that are deeply, madly, and crazily in love with each other. And you look at them and you go, okay, but they may not be the most attractive. They might not be.
Oh, you're being a little judgmental here.
No, I'm just saying. To me, it's like I might look
Okay.
at somebody and go, okay, well, yeah, they're all right.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
we can't see in others what others see in others.
Right,
So
right.
it's-
But I see that as such a huge blessing because they're just going beyond all that stuff, beyond our senses,
Oh, yeah,
directly into the realm of who they really are,
true.
and who we are inside this bag of skin, as
Sure.
Alan Watts liked to call it. But that photon or that spark of light or that consciousness that we are is drawn and in harmony, in perfect harmony
Right.
with that other person.
I want to bring up a few things here that before we get further into the love and love vibration. Not that this isn't love, but I brought up the term lust.
Yeah.
Sometimes we confuse these two, and I just wanted to finish that off. We lust after certain things, and we think that's love. And then when we finally get it, so to speak, we realize it's not. It's hollow.
Yeah.
It's not everything we thought. It doesn't possess the fullness of what we're really looking for, the completeness.
Yeah.
And it's very attractive. Oh, wow, that's, this is wonderful. I really lust after that. And some people say, well, I love that. I love that. And maybe, you can have many loves during your life. You could have even love maybe even two people at the same time. You know, it doesn't just have to be isolated to one person. So our love is extensive, but also
And expensive.
and expensive. Well, I was going to just briefly talk about making love because that is a little bit part of it, you know. But the making love is when you love somebody so much, you want to share this beautiful moment with them. It's a bond. It's you literally take a part of you and you're giving it to the other person, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, not to get too clinical, but you know, there's an exchange of energy. There's an exchange of fluids sometimes.
Right.
But this really becomes magical. And again,
The two become one,
the two become one. And
as it was in the beginning.
right. There's also when we share moments with other people, we experience, you know, orgasms, and we have heightened levels of moment. And again, if you want to quantify this, this is the highest vibrational energy you can experience in human form.
Yep.
And it's an extension of it, because if you just sometimes, if you're making love to somebody you're not in love with, you're not making love, you're just having sex.
Right.
Completely different.
Right.
It's not the same. And
Same parts, different
yeah,
utilization.
and those who've had both of all those different scenarios understand.
Yeah.
Because when you're with somebody that you really want to be with, it's a heightened level.
Yeah, because it becomes more spiritual at that point.
It
It's not,
is.
It's
That's
not,
exactly
it's not
right.
base
It's
nature.
right.
You know, base nature is for us to, you know, have a partner, procreate, continue the species, you know, that kind of stuff. And fortunately, our Creator built in this wonderful pleasure level in doing that.
Right.
You see, and that takes us again back to love, because love brings pleasure,
Right.
and that's what makes the attraction. That's what makes the connection.
Right.
And that's what keeps it going.
And true love is one of giving, not receiving. In that, you know, you could give things to people, right?
Yep.
Thinking that you love them, and you're actually just kind of, it's almost self satisfying, because you feel good about yourself because you gave things to somebody that maybe you're supposed to love.
Yep.
But in true reality, you give things to people that you truly love.
Yeah.
You know, because this is part of our core. It's what's natural. And then if you take it to the next step, I guess we can get back to the love. We can talk about unconditional love. This is when true love is given without any expectations or anything in return.
Yeah.
It's purely a vibration that goes out. We're not expecting anything back, and nor would you want to do it with any agenda or intention, except to just give.
Yeah.
But it will have a beautiful effect back on you.
Sure,
Yeah.
and much in the same way as it does with charity or with helping someone out.
You feel great about doing that.
You do.
Yeah.
You know, you give somebody something, and you know, it makes you feel great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not particularly because look at me, look what I did.
No, because these
But
things are
because you-
usually done anonymously.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
because
not
you
like you're
helped improve somebody else's life, even for a moment.
and you may not even know this person.
Exactly.
But you understand that you have a love for a certain group of people so much you want to help them out.
Yeah.
That's true unconditionally. You know, you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But if you're a business person and you go, okay, let's do an event to sponsor this because we're going to brand it and make ourselves a lot of money from it,
Mm-hmm.
you're not really loving the people that may have breast cancer. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
It's disingenuous.
It's the intention.
Right.
The intention is what makes the difference.
And then sometimes you'll see that they'll have these gala balls and everybody spends a lot of money to come to them.
Yeah.
But it's a who's who. It's a show.
Right.
They all want to have a nice meal and, you know,
Yep.
chew gossip, which
Sure.
really is kind of evil
Yep.
at its core. But
Absolutely.
true love can be is done sometimes in the shadows.
To blave. No, he did not
Oh,
say to blave. He said true love.
Yeah,
Go back to
Yeah.
another fantastic movie.
that is
Princess Bride.
Princess Bride,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, but
And-
again, the whole premise of that, just coincidentally, was based on true love.
Right.
You know, the
It
love
was.
between him and Buttercup,
Yeah.
and you know, everyone who ever watched that movie had walked away from it with a better understanding of true
Of
love.
love. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. So what's love to you?
And great music too.
Oh, well, yeah. And we could, I mean, like I said, every great movie,
Yeah.
well, not every great movie, but most profound movies with a point
Yeah. Yeah.
will have some underlining theme of love.
Yeah.
You know, and like Love Story was just amazing. I
Yep.
mean, you don't cry there. Like Brian's song, that pulls on your heartstrings.
Yeah. And again,
So-
the music.
And
the
that's
soundtrack.
brotherly love there, and that moves you just as much as anything else.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So you get what you give. So are you giving love? That's the question. If you expect nothing in return, are you still willing to give?
Yeah.
And it's not money. It may not even be time. It could just be conscious attention to somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody that needs something that you care about so much. Your thoughts, your ideas, what you think about them, how just thinking about somebody is the thought
Yeah.
in itself is a form of love.
And unfortunately, there are those who don't know how to love.
No,
There are those who have never been loved.
exactly.
It's a difficult place for them because it's a natural default. Just we go back to Hannibal. What is his nature? See, so we have to ask, what is our nature? And our nature is to love and be loved.
Right. And you bring up a great point. People that are able to love later in life have had love when they were young,
Yeah.
when they were a child. I mean, you learn this.
Mm-hmm.
It may still be innate and coded within ourselves and a natural feeling,
Mhm.
but if you're not kind of really shown that in an external way, because we are living in an external world, a child that's not given any love, attention,
never shown affection.
never cared for,
Yeah.
abused,
Yep.
this is what they know, right?
Yep. Yep.
So-
And that's why literally, we think that the opposite of love is hate, but really the opposite of love is abuse. Because
I thought it was fear. You keep confusing me.
yeah,
but-
well, fear is abuse.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
so what happens is that many people have fear based upon loss.
Right.
So they don't want to lose something that they have or someone that they have. So then that fear kicks in. See, so
Mhm.
in a way, they're actually loving, but with the wrong result. Am I making any sense? So someone, you love this girlfriend, okay, but you fear that you'll lose her.
Right.
So the fear that you are in, that place of fear, is directly linked to love. So you couldn't have the fear without the love. And
Two
we,
opposing emotions.
right, but
they-
still on the same line.
Yeah.
Still the same type of principle. So it's with so many ways, there's so many things that we do in life. If we just take a moment before we act upon something and think about it a little bit more and see who is it's going to benefit or who may it hurt.
Well, you brought up the great point that some people are unable to love. We talked about maybe it's the childhood upbringing.
Yeah.
But some people they're unable to love another because they fear that they're not going to be loved back.
Yeah.
And they're fearing that they're going to put themselves out there
Or get hurt.
and it all comes down to getting hurt
Yeah.
or look stupid. But it's all part of that low vibration of like, hey, I don't want that feeling,
Yeah.
So I'm better off maybe
I'll just stay here.
I'll just stay here and not move myself to that.
Even
that
though they
low
have
level.
the power to love.
I
They're
think
just
everybody has the
not.
power to love, unless maybe you're a true psychopath, which you don't
Yeah.
understand. Then you don't have any empathy for other people at all.
Right.
But then maybe you have a form of self-love,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So in a way, there's still
Love.
love.
Yeah.
It may
And-
not
and
be
if
the
that-
right kind of love.
Yeah, and if that psychopath were, for example, perhaps maybe put under hypnosis and you shut down that conscious mind,
Right.
perhaps then we wouldn't have a psychopathic person or a narcissistic person because it's the conscious mind that creates this this negative energy,
Right.
and creates this negative world around us for not only us but for people that we come into contact
Right.
with.
And that brings us to kind of a valid point where if you are loving or you're able to love somebody else, more than likely you have a certain self-love.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful here. This is not like sitting around having people massage you and eating grapes and this
Yeah,
kind
being
of
fat,
or
yeah.
whatever, just taking care of yourself on that level. No, this
Right.
is a self-love is meaning that there's on a certain level you are whole and complete,
Yes.
and you are happy with yourself, because again, you can't give happiness unless you have it. You can't give something you don't have. Correct?
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
If you're, a friend of mine once said, you can't give from empty pockets.
Mm.
And that always hit me hard, because I know people who I've come across in my life that have empty pockets.
Right.
And they just, and I don't mean financially.
No. I get you.
Metaphorically.
Yeah,
Or
metaphorically.
allegorically.
Right.
And unless you know, truly know, you don't have the tools or the ability to do that.
Right.
And that's what's for empathetic people. It hurts them, because you see someone else, and you know that they have a desire to love or to be loved, yet you can feel the emptiness, and you can see the emptiness in their eyes, where that just isn't there.
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
And you can continue to love that person and show love, give them whatever you think it takes to maybe move them. But unless they're willing to accept and move themselves, no amount of love may change certain people.
Right. It just depends on where they are in their journey.
Exactly.
It really is,
yeah.
because we're all learning.
Well, their journey may
we're
not.
remembering.
Yeah.
Depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
And it's all different. I mean, so many times I've read. I mean, you've seen my library. I have a bunch of books.
Yeah.
I do a lot of reading. I'm sort of obsessed by
We
it.
just talked about this quote by Rumi. For those that do not want to change, let them sleep.
Yeah.
So there you go. So if for those that don't want to love, they feel like it's not part of them.
Yeah.
That's fine. But it's not fine, because I truly believe that we're brought here,
Yeah.
and if this is there's a purpose to life, and there's, let's say, a test that we test ourselves.
Yes.
You have to rise above this.
Yeah.
You have to just say, okay, well, you know what? This is not working out.
Yeah.
What do I need to do? Maybe you need to start loving more, because love is universal. I mean, it's the same everywhere. Everybody goes through the same thing, and it's the common language of all cultures.
Right.
And true love is the same. It doesn't matter who you are. You can go anywhere across the world, and you can embrace somebody and have love, and you may not even have anything similar.
Yeah.
Language, culture, food, you may look completely different.
Yep.
Doesn't matter, right?
Yep.
And
It's like love and math. Math is 2 + 2 is 4 in Paris as much as it is in New York.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure if everything adds up everywhere the same, but
Yeah, well, it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty close. So
yeah.
so when we're looking at this power of love, which holds everything together, it's a type of a glue or adhesive.
When the power of love overcomes the love
Jimmy.
of power, the world will know peace. Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Did he? I mean,
Yeah, and there's a southpaw guitarist right there putting it in
He-
total truth.
to call him just a guitarist is almost to do an injustice to him.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
And he was so humble.
He was.
He was great.
Yeah,
and
but so many
he knew love.
Yeah, like look at Jimi Hendrix, you look at Bruce Lee, you look at all of these people that you wouldn't expect to have all this philosophical stuff.
Okay,
come
I'll do another quote, and you tell me who you think this is. Okay?
Okay.
It matters not who you love, where you love, when you love, or how you love. It only matters that you love. And I might have shortened that quote there, but that's famous guy too. He wrote a lot about love. John Lennon
from. Okay.
of the Beatles.
The Beatles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lennon, boy, what a team. They brought forth love in a musical form
Yeah.
to bring, and people loved the Beatles.
They loved love.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
And-
have more
and-
love songs than.
because all you need is love.
That's true.
Wait, there's another one.
Okay. Well, I mean, they had whole albums of love, but if you see music today, there is something void.
Yes.
void of
Many
love.
things void.
Yeah.
In the music
And
industry.
and you don't see people nowadays. You'll see them say really stupid quotes. They don't have beautiful quotes like this. I mean,
Yeah.
these guys were brought to us in a time precisely when we needed it.
Yep.
And again, the hippies, I think, knew a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, they connected. They may not have been perfect citizens according to some people.
Yeah.
But they understood the love vibration.
Sure.
Because you could just see people would just show up. They don't even know each other, and they're immediately just giving each other a hug because they understand that they are you.
Right.
You are them.
And you are them.
So why not
Yep.
love? Because
I am he and he is she and
there you go with
we
more.
are-
I mean,
yeah,
it's amazing.
We are
Just
both together. The walrus. I am the walrus.
yeah,
So and I am, and you
and
are.
I am. Yeah.
You know? So two words that were never more powerful
Yeah.
than I am. So when you're looking at this list of stuff that we're talking about with love, I know you've made some notes over there, and I have too. But I didn't want to bypass a level of mystical love, okay, or this level of something greater than us
Yeah. Go there.
that that loves us and we love back simply because that is the source of all things. You know, some may call this source God, some may call it the universe, some may call it love. Even the Bible says God is love. Well, if God is love, then love is God.
Right.
So when we look at that the power of that is so strong and so unrejectable that even if you do evil things, for example, a child commits a horrible, horrible crime, yet that child's parent still loves them
Yeah. That's true.
in most cases.
Wow. You get that's a good point.
Yeah, regardless of what they
And
did.
he may be hated and despised by other people,
Right.
yet there's still that love connection that this person, this convict or whatever,
Right.
may have with.
So
another person.
imagine
Yeah.
that unconditional love that comes
Yeah.
from the source of all it is.
I get-
It's the same thing.
yeah.
You know, we are loved no matter what we do or do not do.
Mhm.
The most important thing is, though, that we understand that and that we share it. We pass it on.
Love can and will solve every problem, every situation, and every conflict in the world. And I've said that a little bit before, but by loving more, you send out this. It's almost like the energy, and it goes forth, and then at some point, it comes back to you in this lifetime.
Yep.
And it may not be immediate, but then and it's not a reward either.
No, it
It's
isn't.
just
It isn't.
you can't look at it as like I'm getting something in the end, but knowing that all the energy that you are putting out, trust me, it's going to come back to you, and it'll flow back to you in various ways.
Yep.
It's
And you've
Go ahead.
brought up a good point.
yeah, I did.
Yes.
Okay.
You mentioned reward. And
Wow.
and from children, we're always led into a system of punishment and reward. You know?
That's how we're conditioned.
right.
Yeah.
So that builds, love and fear.
Sure.
So in reality, there is no punishment or reward other than what we loosely use the word karma, but basically are doing. So if you do something in error, you will see the effects of it in pretty close to the time that you did it. And the reason for that is to show you not to do that again. So when we have love,
Yeah.
it's always benefit, no consequence.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because it doesn't. Love is free.
exactly.
I mean, it. If you put a price on it, or you think it has a price tag on it.
Yep.
That's not love.
No.
You think it's love, and actually, can I bring up something right now?
You certainly can.
Okay. Well, there's this rabbi.
I'd love you for it.
Saw you sweating over there.
Yeah.
No. There's a guy named Abraham Tversky. I'm not sure if I get this.
I love this guy.
Oh, you know this guy?
Oh yeah, he's a rabbi. With the
Right,
white
he's a
hair- the
rabbi.
White hair, and
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
all of his little explanations of things, especially the lobster thing.
Right. Well, I've been around a lot of rabbis, and I can tell you most of them are not nearly this profound.
Yeah, but he's
They
very
try to be.
profound. Yeah.
He's I been recently introduced to him.
Yeah.
Surprised I never saw him before, but I'm going to share something.
Please, anything from Rabbi
Yeah, man,
Korsky.
and this is cool because this really comes down to it, and it's hard to delineate. We talked and tried to explain, but this might be a clarity that will just resonates with you.
Sure.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
So a young man and an old man, they're sitting there, and this young man is eating some fish, and he's like, I love fish. I
yeah.
love fish. I love eating fish.
I love
it.
this
Love
story,
it.
by the
Yeah.
way. Glad you're sharing this.
And the elder gentleman looks at him and says, well, so you love fish so much that you were willing to take that fish away from its home, kill it, fillet it, fry it, cook it, boil it, and then eat it for your own satisfaction.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't love fish, you love yourself. Wow, that's heavy.
Very profound.
Yeah, well, and this guy loves the taste of fish, but see, that's a different type of love. And you may, you could love ice cream. That's not going to be as you're not probably harming as many animals. But this type of love, we have too much of it today. There's too much fish love going on.
Yes.
And that's probably one of our greatest problems right now. If we are experiencing a problem, or a problem with love that the world is breaking down. Just everybody's at odds.
Yeah.
And again, we should get back to the fact is that let's not pretend to do fish love anymore.
No, let's get back to agape love, which we talked about earlier.
Not a guppy
Selfless.
love, which is a different type of fish love.
Yeah,
Agape
it is.
love.
But 2 shows nightly. So the agape
You're
love,
all week.
I always say agape, but
Right.
agape, okay? Selfless.
Agape.
It's selfless love. It's love for everyone.
Yeah.
You see, it's unconditional. It is extended to all people, whether they're family members, strangers, people you don't even know. It's actually the origin of our word that we have for charity.
Right. And either you have love in your heart or you don't.
Yep.
With everything you do.
Yeah.
When you're behind somebody in traffic right now
Yep.
and it's not moving and you have to be there, are you honking? Are you cursing at them? Or you say, you know what? I'm just going to let go of that feeling, and I'm just going to, maybe you don't have love for them,
Yep.
but think about love. Think about the things that are, that make you feel good, and things that and hook into that.
Yep.
This is tough. This is almost as if we're going to give you some homework.
Yeah.
And if you're wanting to love more, be conscious of everything you do and do it with love.
Yeah.
Think about it and do it. Am I doing this with love, or am I just going through the motions?
Yeah, and if you're not doing it with love, then just don't do it. When people say,
Well, yeah, you may
many
not be
years
able to
ago,
do
somebody
it.
said, if you don't have something nice to say, then don't say it. Well, okay.
Okay, that's good advice, really.
It is. It's excellent advice.
Yeah.
So if you can't love, then don't do anything else.
Right.
See, and I think that
At least start with that,
right.
because by not doing the negative stuff
Yep.
is your first step in getting to where you could have that love vibration
and
be a part of you.
In every religion, in every philosophical society is taught the same thing. Even Jesus said, love them as I have loved you.
Right.
You see.
And that's so beautiful, isn't it?
It
I
is,
mean,
and it's so profound in its simplicity, and I think that once we realize, even the books and movies like The Secret and all of these things,
Right.
all based upon the law of attraction, and the law of attraction is based on what? Love.
Yes. It is. It's the biggest attraction. It's the
Right.
biggest magnet you have.
If at the very core of our atoms with the neutrons and electrons and protons, if there wasn't an attraction, if there wasn't a love there, we wouldn't be here. Nothing would be here.
Right. And you can't even really, that's where you kind of lose it, because science and math and physics and everything that you can quantify,
Yes.
it's really hard to plug it into the love. I mean, it's the same thing, but you
Yeah.
can't, it still doesn't describe it all.
No.
And
that's why I think even before
indescribable.
before we did the show, I went to Dr. Google, and
I go to
various other-
DuckDuckGo.
Do you? Okay,
Yeah,
so,
they don't.
So there's various search engines that,
Recommend
that we
DuckDuckGo.
can use. Okay, I'm
Yep.
going to have to check that out. And of course, looked for these best descriptions of love,
Right.
which took me back to the ancient Greeks and took me back to Egypt and
Right.
all this stuff. But really, it still falls short.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, again, we can't. All we can do is just talk and bring some attention, awareness to the subject. Not that everybody is not thinking about it every day and every second of their life, because ultimately, I can't imagine. I mean, when you get together for the holidays and stuff like this,
Yeah.
this is a time to share love.
Yes.
And you don't spend time with people; you share time.
Right.
Yeah. So let's not quantify it like
Yeah.
that.
And
either.
don't waste time.
And don't waste time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though
You're never really wasting time.
yeah, because
well-
time doesn't exist. Yeah, but we did that on another show.
See,
didn't
that's
we?
why I can never live with a philosopher, because you could never get anywhere. It's like, honey, I'm home. You were never gone.
Right,
You were never really gone. You've always been here.
Where is home?
Where is home? Yeah.
It's
Okay,
like,
whatever.
who was I in another life? Well, who wants to know?
Who wants to know?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna share one more thing.
Okay.
Okay, because again, there's nothing more to say.
Yep.
We are all sharing. We are all one. The fact that one person is here and another person is over there is just a perception. We exist in one body. We exist in one breath. Our planet is our extended body. The earth is recycling, and we are contained in one consciousness. There's no difference between the creation, the creator, pure consciousness, and God. So we should learn to love everyone equally, because in essence, we are all one. We are all one collective soul. Outwardly, everything appears separate, but inwardly, we are all manifestations of ourselves. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. An organism at war with itself is doomed. Fear is not cooperative. Choose love.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's from the Superconscious book,
Which is fantastic.
which was written with a lot of love, I'm sure.
I love it.
So, again, that's it. I mean,
Yeah,
love.
and I do want to just mention one
Yeah, what
really
you got?
important thing while we wrap this thing up on love, and that is just briefly touch on forgiveness, because sometimes that prevents the flow from occurring.
Forgiveness is the blockage of love.
Yes, to cease to feel resentment against an offender. This is basically what forgiveness is. It's to grant relief. It is to dismiss a debt. And it isn't about the other person. It's about you. So
Right.
forgiveness frees us of the burden of carrying this guilt and whatever else is non-love.
Have you ever carried a grudge or revengeful thoughts?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And when you look back at your life, did it do any good?
No.
Not at all.
It did all bad.
Right.
Mostly to me.
Right.
Yeah.
It will be all bad.
Yeah.
And you're thinking you're doing, the other person is worse than you, but
But
you're
they're out having a great day.
they're unaware that you're feeling so horrible.
Yeah.
So here's where you have to flip it, and it's all within your mindset.
Yeah.
But your heart knows. Your heart knows what's right. Your heart's going to tell you, you don't have to be so mean to these people. But yet, when your mind gets a hold of these ideas, they go, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take their knife to the tires.
Right.
But no, this is.
But for most people, when they act upon things in an ugly way like
Right.
that, or even in a vengeful way, there is that remorse that kicks in.
Right.
In most people. you
Right.
know, or they say, oh, my God, I really shouldn't have said that, or I should have done that. And, that's that spirit speaking to you within.
I had a grudge with somebody, just real quick, and at one point in my life, I didn't forgive them for what they did, but I forgave them, and I wanted to put them out of my mind as far as having having an issue with them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talked to them from that point forward, I only expressed kindness, caring, love, because they were a relative.
Yep.
And guess what? It's worked out great,
Yeah.
and all those feelings I felt before
Mm-hmm.
were washed away, and I really felt like I rose above and I became a really better person. And I was testing myself, and I feel really good about it. Now, this person may not still be, a loving person or the quality of person, but that
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
But he's not for you to fix.
Exactly. Yeah.
My friend once said that he received a message from within or from above that said, "It is your job to catch the fish. It is my job to clean the fish."
There you go. More fish stories.
More fish stories. Yeah.
Literally fish stories.
Yeah. So we'll leave it with the fishes.
Right.
And I loved this show.
I love this show too.
Talk to you later.
Okay, man.
All
Take
right,
care.
buddy. See you.
Bye.
You've been listening to Quantum Flow Radio. Email us online at quantumflowradio@gmail.com.